thank you again for the invitation. And my name is Uršula Butkovič. I come from Slovenia. I work in company UrsuLab, which is my own company, and I've been working with organizations and teams and leaders, trying to helping them build better relationship and also a culture of purpose and care. And recently, I've been focusing on building strong communities because I think it's really important that we rebuild the communities. And I've been invited to talk about the innovative working culture. So I think it's important to start with a comment that I think it's already been made in the chat, but that we don't forget, even in the digitalized era, that organizations are people. So there are no companies, no youth organization, no community without people. And because of the people and how the world is changing and how the technology is changing, also people are changing. And the new generations coming to the workplace, to the organizations, to volunteering, to schools, to universities, expectations are changing. And this is creating a culture shift, let's say. And we are becoming more aware of this because we are, let's say, at a breaking point. From these traditional cultures, traditional organizations, we are coming to more innovative cultures, more open, more flexible, and we are shifting things from organizations, let's say, that were rooted in safety into organizations that are rooted in growth. So we are coming from cultures that are focused on stability, control, of giving instructions and then checking if everything is done according to this, of hierarchy and these pyramid structures, to cultures where fear of mistakes is very present and the culture of blaming for mistakes is very present. And cultures and organizations that have very rigid and slow processes and systems, but are safe in terms of they're predictable. Nothing will change very fast, and we know what to expect every day. But as I said, people are changing. Younger generations are coming and pushing things to move forward, and to become more flexible, and that we don't control things, but trust that people will do their jobs, because usually they will. That we build cultures that are based on cooperation, autonomy, and that view mistakes as opportunities to grow, and that are more agile and really faster and more flexible, and the processes and systems in these organizations, they mirror that. But basically what it means that people are there to grow and to challenge themselves and to challenge other people around them, other organizations around them. And this is a big mentality shift that is affecting, I think, all of us. But if we look at the structure of an organization, it stays the same. So if we simplify things, we have every organization is built, let's say, from structure, from culture, and from people. And these elements don't change. What changes is how we fill up these elements, let's say. So if we have a more traditional culture, things are, like I said, more stable, more predictable, more fixed, and this influences the structure. Which means that meetings in an organization that is more traditional are different than in an organization, a youth organization that is more flexible, more open, more connected. If we just imagine a meeting from, let's say, an insurance company or a bank and youth organizations, this meeting take totally different form. How decisions are being made. In a bank, it's totally different than in a startup, in an organization that has a innovative culture that is driven by this flow and growth. This and even like for a very, let's say, stupid example, offices look totally different in these two examples of organizations, meaning that they both have structure, they both have culture, they both have people, but the manifestation of all these systems and culture and people is totally different. They attract different people. They have different approach to authority, different approach to how things are built, what kind of habits, what kind of rituals are taking place, everyday practices that are being practiced. And it's really important to understand this and to understand that the shift that needs to happen in business, but also in NGOs, in youth organizations, in communities, in volunteer organizations, because the innovative culture is more flat. It offers space for more self-organization. It is more focused that everybody is succeeding, not just one person or one team or something. And all the processes are simple and based on the values, and trying to make sure that the processes support that the values that they declare they want to live actually live in everyday practices. So it's more it's a lot more of sharing the knowledge, a lot more of sharing the mistakes, helping each other, having open communication, having the role of community keeper, which I think it's very important, whether it's a business or a youth organization or a volunteering community, and leading by example, which is something that in traditional organizations, traditional cultures, it didn't have to be, because when you earn the title of a leader, of a manager, it automatically comes with the respect, let's say, but it doesn't work like this anymore. Young people have different expectations and they don't want to follow a person who is not walking the talk. So it's really important to understand this. And when we are working with younger people, but also people in general, we are changing as globally in terms of what our expectations are. So it's important to foster this and nurture this culture of learning, of openness, of connections, of this. And I think Louise will be more practical about her examples later on. But how to build this kind of innovative culture? It's really important to define the goals, in my opinion, to still have the goals, not to just say, oh, now we are flat and now we are self-organized, so now we let go of all of the goals. That we define the goals, but give people autonomy, so we don't breathe down their necks when they are trying to do their goals, but let them go wild and let them surprise us. To nurture this environment of where people feel safe, I believe that the term psychological safety that was coined by Amy Edmondson is quite present, if not Google it. But it means basically that team members are being able to express their opinion, to make mistakes, to take risks without fearing some negative consequences, and just being supported, not being judged by what they do and who they are. To experiment with experiments. I'm really a fan of this tiny experiments, mini experiments, and I will talk about it a bit more later. To be transparent, not to hold on to information, to really have the information flow all around the organization, all around the community. Even if the information is that I cannot give you this information at the time, just to be really open and transparent about everything. The role of community keeper, as I said, I think it's really important just because we are so surrounded by technology, and there are so many of this virtual collaboration and virtual spaces, that we need somebody to take care of the human relationship, to check if, are we aligned, are we doing things, are we living the values that we declare that are the values of our organization, how are we living them, do we need a little bit of calibration, do we need to change course, how are people feeling? So the role of community keeper, I think, is extremely important, to also change as often as possible, just to practice our flexibility muscle. And just it means the examples that we were sharing before with Sandra, Urška, and Luis, just keeping updated with technology, changing the systems that we are doing, changing the processes, changing how we do things. We need this flexibility muscle because things change so fast, and we see something happens in the world, then next day we need to adapt to it, we need to react to it. So if we are already versed in that, it's so much easier. Practice openness and inclusion. It's like very self-evident in these times where I think diversity is like the it word of the moment, but it's so hard to do, and it takes so much time and energy to really include people, to really give them space and platform where people have the ability to connect and to share their ideas, to share their opinions, and to really come to new conclusions, new ideas, new innovations. It takes a lot of time, in my experience, to first pave the path to that. But then when you've done the work, then it runs really great. So it's easy to give up in the process, but keep doing it. And if we give people a lot of autonomy, it's good to have also support when they need it. So coaching and mentoring when they hit a roadblock, when they discover an obstacle that they were not ready for. It's really important to not just give them goals and let them go, but also to offer support when it's needed, and also give some dedicated time to actually give people time to get new ideas, to brainstorm, to grow, to learn, because especially in business, but also in youth organizations, in NGOs, we are so busy with day-to-day tasks, and this was one of the fears that I saw in the comments, that we have too much things to do, and it's easy to forget that we also want to learn and grow. So it's really important to carve out this time and to really stick to it, and not to make excuses like, oh, but yeah, we have a deadline for a project now, we can't do it, and then we just keep pushing it. So if we all the organizations, all the businesses that are successful on the long term, really stick to this, that they take the time and push the people to really go out of their daily tasks into this learning space where they can grow and innovate and this kind of stuff. So I will just mention this a little bit, because I can talk about this for 3 hours or 3 days. But I started with assumptions, and I think this, if anybody wants to test the assumptions of the organizations they are building or being a part of, these are some of the methods that I think are super useful, because we a lot of times keep working on assumptions, or the assumptions that were true maybe 10 years ago when we started this organization or this business, but then we want to change something and we see it's not working, and we just keep banging our head against the wall. And if you want to really see what's underneath, what are the mental models, let's say, that are preventing the change to happen, or organization to grow, or people in the organization to connect and to really participate and collaborate, it's good to maybe check one of these methods and see how where the obstacles truly are, not where we think they are. And it's a good collaboration process also that you can invite people into and do all of this together, because the results will be even better, of course. And some of the good practice that I encounter in my work, either with businesses or also with projects, consortiums, and NGOs, youth organizations, are, as I said, on top the mini experiments, because I think this is really important to test ourselves and to experiment with ourselves also, that we do things that to try to test if we have a theory, and then we just experiment and test it, because the role of experiments is also to give us the permission to fail, because experiments are meant to either succeed or fail. But if we frame our thinking into, oh, this is an experiment, so it might fail because it's supposed to, it's much easier to confront that failure and make a new experiment out of it. I'm a big fan of buddy systems, that you have a buddy in an organization, somebody that you're not so well connected yet with. And I'm not gonna talk about all of it, because then I think I will run out of time. But if there's any of this that you want to talk about more, we can do it later. But I'm also a fan, I will talk about this one also, because I'm a fan of the tactical groups, which basically is a problem-solving group, which we experimented in a project, and it turned out super great, because whenever we had a task or we had like a problem to solve, we just ask for volunteers who wants to deal with this. They raised their hands. We said, okay, go do it. And it really is a great way to raise the autonomy of people, to get them to collaborate, to get them to be innovative. And or sometimes I was in the technical group, sometimes I was not. The solutions are always much better than if it was a one-person job or everybody would be dealing with this, because it was really, go play, come back and bring us the results. So these are just some of the practices that I think are really important. Again, you can ask about them a bit later in Q&A, so I don't run out of time here. But yeah, the point I think that you are starting to see here is that we need time. We need time and energy to work on innovative culture and to create the space for collaboration, because it's so easy to get in this routine and just to work with everyday tasks, the small important things. But if you really want to nurture this culture of innovation, we need focus and energy, and we need to set it as a goal and then really do it and check on it. And yeah, so this and like I said, a big fan of this experiment, so I would also challenge everybody who is here or listening to the video to also test yourself a little bit, to design your mini experiment for supporting or improving the innovative culture that you are a part of, or you want to build, or you want to contribute to. And like I said, the role of the experiment is that you test yourself, you test the theory, and it can be by yourself, a tiny experiment. You can invite other people to join, or you can just like spread it around and have a joint bigger experiment. What's important is that you dedicate a time, and that after this, that it has a time limit, and after this you check, did we succeed or not? If not, are we ready for a new experiment? So yeah, this is my invitation for you, my challenge for all of you. Let's build innovative cultures. So thank you for your time.